Does the varying weather in MX vs. ATV Legends actually affect the gameplay? There are a lot of different weather options you can choose from, of course, dry, afternoon, night. All those are dry, but then there's also a rain option or a snow option. And I wanted to test today to see whether or not those different options actually affect the traction model, how much you can do on the bike when you're jumping rhythm sections and things like that. So we loaded up the amateur Supercross track at Rawlings Farm, which I think is going to be a good test for this. And you can see what it kind of looks like in the dry. Now, on the dry version, I basically did about 7 laps, so I wanted to do the same thing in snow and wet. And after plenty of little mistakes here and there, and you can see me casing some stuff here and there, finally was able to get a couple good laps together, and you'll see what that lap time is. Initially, though, the lap times I was putting down were in the 120-ish range, and then I was finally able to put a really good lap down. So here's what a dry lap looked like on this track. So after putting a 1:15.7 down on the dry track, we had our baseline test. And what I was going to do after that is 7 laps in the wet, 7 laps in the snow, and see if I could get even close to that lap time. Now, initially, when we load up a wet track, you see that it's lightly raining. It's not raining that hard, but the traction model is already adjusted for the fact that the track is wet and has changed to a wet track. So it's much harder to clear stuff. You're going to see me case a lot of things as I try to actually do the same rhythm lines. And then I actually had to change up a couple things as well. And then eventually it starts raining a lot harder. The sky model changes completely, gets completely dark, and then there's even lightning that starts hitting as well to make it really an aesthetic gameplay look. But the traction model is still the same. It doesn't change much other than the fact that it's just really hard to get over some of these jumps. So again, after about 6 or 7 laps, I was able to start getting my lines together a little bit more. And this is basically what a lap looked like in the wet. Very tough to get around, but this is what it looks like. So it's obvious the rain model definitely affects traction. It's really hard to get through rhythm sections. We're almost 7 seconds off the pace after some good testing and even more laps on this track trying to figure it out. So then we switched over to the snow, and immediately I could tell that it's a little bit faster. I don't know if it's like because the ground physics are a little bit slicker and that just makes everything move a little bit quicker. I would have thought the snow holds you back a little bit more because it'd be like thicker texture on the ground, but it was actually easier to connect lines and even almost do some of the bigger lines like this quad right here, which were pretty much impossible in the rain. Now, again, I'm not the best player, but I think this is an even test because I was doing these all back to back to back, and I even did the rain and the snow tracks after, the dry track. So I would have learned the track even a little bit more and thought maybe that the lap times would affect that. But again, it seems like the traction model is just holding you back enough in certain situations in the snow that you're not able to do all the lines. Again, had to change some stuff up. But what I also was interested to see is that I was doing times faster than the rain time pretty quickly, and here is my snow lap. So all told, it's obvious that the traction model does change between each of dry, snow, and rain, but snow actually is less effective than I thought. The rain was actually the biggest detriment, a 6.24 second difference, and then it kind of split the middle with the snow time. So I'm actually curious to know if that traction model is literally just a factorial difference of 2x, 3x, or something along those lines with how much it affects the traction. But this has been my TED Talk, a little bit of an update on how much the traction model is affected by weather in MX's ATV Legends. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this fun little video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.